Warm and hearty welcome from my side. It's quite a pleasure for me to be one of the persons to deliver a keynote here today and basically to kick off the mission construction. Thanks for the invitation, and I'm very pleased to be here and join you at least virtually, and I hope we can kick it off also in a sort of person-to-person situation as everybody does. I think there is a person-to-person future ahead about to come again. We have 3 exciting months in front of us, and we actually have all the possibilities, all the levers in our hand to actually do something great now. Because we're living in challenging times, overall in the world, and especially also in our sector in construction. So this is why we're glad as Goldbeck to be one of the major partners of the mission, and actually we think that we can mutually contribute quite significantly. We're living in challenging times because we as a construction industry are contributing a lot in regard to positive and negative effects of society. As you know, we actually do cause an important footprint in regard to carbon emissions and also biodiversity, but not necessarily negatively. Of course, if we do construction, if we realize buildings, if we operate buildings, we have emissions and we also cause a footprint. But also to think about how this can be done the smartest way, the solution has not yet been found. Yet the levers are there and exponentially growing, and that is technology. So basically thinking about construction is one of the most difficult but also one of the most promising possibilities, because due to technology, we will be able to elevate, to cure some of the issues that we have today. And if we're lucky, if we find the right and smart and innovative solutions, we'll have a multiple win situation, because we are performing into a growing market, which is the market of sustainable products itself. And of course, we also deliver value to society, and we deliver also value to everybody who is engaged, to our stakeholders, especially to our employees. So this also is on the same side, it's a purpose game. So looking at this slide, which is more or less self-explaining, you have those about 10% of emissions which are caused due to construction activities. And then, of course, buildings are to be operated. So we're not only looking at construction itself, but we're looking at build world. So we actually should rephrase it, not the mission construction, but the mission build world. Because, of course, everything regarding to this product of a building should be seen holistically, should be seen also including the lifespan of a building, since we also cause emissions there and also we cause quality there. So what our customers are about to expect in the following decades, what can they expect from excellent buildings? And these are all topics that we can tackle on in this, the mission construction project that we're on this exciting, where we just began to walk this exciting path. So the building sector is crucial to achieving the climate goals. The climate goals are crucial to restore an equilibrium of sustainable nature for generations to come. And that is our mutual responsibility, not only the responsibility of the industry, but of course also the responsibility of the industry. And as I said before, due to innovative approaches, I think we might have the strongest levers within this creative, innovative, technology-driven approach. So it's about acting now. It's about creating sustainable buildings. Sustainable buildings, there are different aspects to it. And this is one thing that I will get to you in just some seconds. It's not that easy because it is really multidimensional. We have new materials in regard to timber, in regard to new natural fibers, in regard to interpreting facades or roofs differently, including vertical gardening and biodiversity sources. Everything in regard to product technology is one very important aspect. Then, of course, the actual habits of consumers will change. We have different approaches in terms of what we understand, what is good work, environment. Is home office the good work? Is the old school office the good work environment? Or is it something that can be called an office home, some place where we actually meet and have the possibility to be more creative, be more innovative together as a working community, which we can create within buildings. So this is one point definitely I want to make. We cannot just digitalize buildings in regard to making them vanish. As long as we don't think that we all sort of disappear into a metaverse, which will not happen in our generation at least, then we will have the need for excellent buildings. Be that schools, be that offices, be that of course homes, be that warehouses, like the whole bunch of it. So as we understand sustainability in regard to buildings, it's three pillars. One pillar definitely is ecology. And ecology is not only climate impact in regard to carbon emissions, but it's of course also the aspect of waste. It's the aspect of biodiversity and of course a couple of other aspects. But these are three very crucial points. That is one issue which is more and more important, not a sort of nice to have thing, but a permission to play thing. That's the big shift of paradigm within the last decades or within the last couple of years. But looking at sustainability, it's not only those important ecological footprint aspects, it's also social sustainability. So that is what I said about all the aspects of how you plan a town, how you plan that people move around this earth, how you actually organize the, all collaborative momentum within a building itself. And then, last but not least, talking about three pillars, never forget the economy, because it's sort of an exchangeable currency. The better, the more efficient you can build a building, the less costs you have to engage, the less waste and unproductive moments you cause, the more money you have and you can use for other things. You can use it for example, investing into carbon reducing projects all over the continent. You can do it in regard to creating social benefits, going for charity, doing something useful with it, or investing it in other useful economical advantages or ventures. So don't forget the economics, because just spending a whole lot of money, that everybody can do it with a lot of money, but this is a limited resource. So we have to take care of that and take that into account once we think about sustainability. So as an enabler, we see in construction industry or in the build world, I would say a couple of main pillars. That is, of course, the digital processes. Everything is reducing waste, but waste not only in terms of material waste, but also of time waste, emotional waste, everything that can be done efficiently. So getting the things right to the point, that's the important task in terms of smart digital processes. Also, it delivers value in terms of services. So with a new digital age, you can cause a lot of more customer experience within a building. And also, if you can exchange boring, tedious, heavy work with smart algorithm-based work, which is then carried out by robots, I will come to that later on, that also is a sort of allocating the energy at the right place. Then we have new technological abilities. As I just said, robots is one thing, but industrial work is one thing also currently in the discussion throughout the whole build world or throughout the whole construction world. How can you do industrialized construction? So getting rid of the very sequential, tedious, mistake-oriented world back in the old days, due to a shift where you can pre-produce in a professional environment the elements and just put them together on site. Thirdly, we have the materials. And of course, we have new building materials. It's timber, which is important. But then again, we have carbon fibers, which might replace partially, at least, for example, steel enhancement. And you have all sorts of other, ecologically smarter facilities to reduce the impact of, for example, concrete in that production facility. But also a bunch of different aspects which have to be analyzed, which also are expanding in its possibilities and the characteristics of the materials almost every year to another dimension. So, but they're not market ripe. So it's our task to really sort them, take the right materials and bring them to the market, put power behind it, those that we can actually harvest on in regard to sustainability. And then last but not least, of course, we go, as I said, to the life cycle approach. It's just wrong to focus only on one single time of the project. But the whole building itself throughout the life cycle is making the difference. So we have to look at that. It's reliability, it's services, and it's of course just driving a building in a very, say, sustainable, low energy way. Everything is interrelated in that regard. It's not just optimizing one thing. Important now is we find the right solutions. And if you look here, we have massive timber on this slide. So actually, timber is a good example for looking at the right things, because currently the cost for carbon reduction, for 1 ton of carbon reduction using timber elements is many elements which you can analyze are above 500 euro per ton, 1,000, 2,000 euro per ton. So it's quite costly. We have to find smarter solutions so the whole building works in itself. I wouldn't say it's wrong, but it's sort of populist approach because it's so nice to have one material which can be the solution. But there is not only one solution, it's a complex solution that we have to strive for. And I think the mission construction is just the right platform for it. We have now an alliance of different players, different visionaries, different industry. We have Knauf here with this broad and detailed spectrum of knowing about materials and having a lot of R&D capacities in that regard. But we have, of course, the incubators, multipliers, we have Futury, we have Handelsblatt here, we have the people from the operations side included. So we have scientists which work on it, we have industry insiders being able to think a little bit outside the box. So that really gives us this possibility now in the next 3 months to have a broad view on it. And we aim to develop prototypes and really prove them. Is there something reasonable that can have a higher impact? And we're from the, say, main partner side, definitely up to really cherishing and pushing that impact once we see it's possible. So the best thing is we create something that really works in the market, be that a process, be that a product, be that an idea. And that would be like the final and perfect goal if we mutually find stuff together in that regard. So we will have so many different fields that you're working now, and I'm already quite curious, and I'm really glad that Goldbeck is able to accompany you all, and of course all the interesting partners involved in this venture to create something new. So we, from our side, have included in our business model the whole situation from the first thought of design, from the architecture throughout all the processes needed to constitute a building, to plan, to design a building. Then we have production facilities, we have the assembly, we have the know-how, what is happening on those very archaic construction sites, but we also do have the know-how of operations in regard to facility management or car parking operations, in regard to property management. So we are more than willing to throw in all those skill sets, all those expertise to contribute to our mutual venture. And of course, also we consider ourselves to be quite diverse, not only looking from a purely German perspective, but from a pan-European perspective with about 90 different locations, with 90 different approaches and different cultural backgrounds. I think having this more diverse, this broader radar screen really helps a lot in that regard. Finally, of course, I said that a couple of times, it's not about the construction process itself, but it's about the whole life cycle. For us, it means we have to create a product service ecosystem. We're not the first company, and I don't think necessarily you have to be one company. You can also be like a sort of team of different companies to think in product service ecocycles. But this is really something that is shifting the industry. It has been shifted through this fruit company with this iconic icon. It has shifted through this moonshot satellite car, electric vehicle person. So we as a construction industry still have to form our circular approach and have to find our circular solutions. And we're more than happy to join forces with all of you together. Good thing is currently, as I said in the beginning, we have all the tools in our hand. It's due to technology, we have in all sorts of, periods of the value chain, of the phases of the value chain, we have new technologies. I will not go into detail on this slide in all sorts of possibilities, because you will, definitely in the next 3 months. But every single phase offers, through digitization, through robots, through new materials, new processes, through drones, and everything which is about to come in itself, plentiful ways to think our future differently than we did in our past. And I think this is as our goal. This is the goal in the mission, to create something which has not been there beforehand, but we will enable it to be there, and it will contribute to a good business model and to a good societal, good environmental impact. And I think that's a pretty broad approach, but that's the sign of the times that we have to accept and that we have to read. Perhaps one last view on the company Goldbeck itself. We have basically set up our level of aspiration pretty high in that regard, because we said, okay, 2023, we want to be net carbon neutral, at least at a corporate level. So at scope 2, and the next thing of course is to tackle a realistic time frame for scope 3, but we also have there in that regard a lot of good ideas. And please do not forget, there is always something that I like to call scope X, so something that you are doing as an individual or as a company with the money that you have earned. So this is also something quite important in your contribution to societal impact and to the future and to the generations which are about to come. So in the end, for us, it means we're in all levels of sustainability active, because it's just far more than just solely looking at reducing footprint. It's about finding new ideas on biodiversity. It's about helping your clients to understand what they can do. But it's also about the public level, about causing public awareness. And I think if you're all together in these different aspects and we just funnel our activities in all sorts of different specters of what would mean sustainability, and I think the best impact can be reached. So, and that leads me back to you about your scope, what you can achieve within the next couple of weeks. And as I said, possibilities are bountiful, and I'm very, very much looking forward to discuss with you on your results, on your ideas, and about solutions that will be found within those next 3 months. So I'm all wishing you joy in your collaboration, inspiring conversations, courage also for trial and error, just pivoting, thinking things new if you just went into a dead end. And of course, enough power to do that. It will be, of course, challenging 3 months, and in the end, success. Now I will give the floor back to the studio, and I'm looking more than forward for the panel discussion and what is about to come. And so perhaps we have the possibility that we will meet in person at the end. That would be a mutual goal. And so best of luck to you. Thanks for listening.